Hello everyone and welcome back to Meeple Leaf Reviews. My name is Jeffrey.
And my name is Jacob.
And we're discussing a game that we've talked about ad nauseum.
Really? Ad nauseum. Right?
Ad nauseum.
Okay.
Time Stories.
Yeah.
It was our first review game that we did on the podcast. So go check that out. Meeple Leaf Reviews, iTunes, or any of the podcast websites. Search us there. On our very first episode, you can hear about Time Stories.
Yeah.
Now,
no spoilers in there.
No spoilers. So we're just going to start it quickly with a no spoiler portion of this.
Right.
Then we're going to go into spoilers because we talked a lot about this game, but we haven't really done a lot with what actually happens in the game.
We haven't talked at length about the epicness
That is
Time Stories.
That is the story, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just for the non-spoiler, I just want to say it's a really great game. The emphasis is more on the experience.
Exactly.
On the discovering what's happening in the story. If you're going into this game looking for mechanics or something like that, that's not what you're going to get the most enjoyment out of, I feel, in this game.
Right. Yeah, I would attribute it closely to an escape room or something to that effect, where you're going to go in once, you're going to play it, you're going to enjoy that experience. But if you went into that same one again, then you may or may not enjoy that experience.
Yeah. More
More likely you wouldn't, because you know everything already. So we just did a review, or not a review, we just did a breakdown of, is this replayable? Is Time Stories a replayable game? So if you want to check that out, and you can get some more information from us in that video, this is all we'll say about it here.
All right, so shall we jump right into spoilers?
Well, let's talk about price point.
Okay.
Just briefly. The core box costs how much?
No idea.
50?
Yeah, 50, maybe $60.
And each expansion's 23, 24, something like that?
In Canadian.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Canadian dollars.
Yeah, so...
Do you think one story is worth the $20, $25 Canadian?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can play up to 4 people. If 4 people were to go out and go to a movie, you're probably spending like $50,
yeah,
easy.
Yeah.
And you can get a story that'll probably take, at least 3 hours.
Yeah.
So longer than a long movie. And you're getting a lot more engagement than you would with a movie.
Exactly.
You're an active participant in this story.
Yeah, and you can interact with your friends. You can role play. You don't need to role play, though, for the game as well. But if you are role players, this game offers a lot to you as well.
Yeah, so definitely I'm going to be picking up all the expansions. It's definitely worth the price for how much you're getting out of it.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I would definitely pick this up if you didn't own it.
Yeah. All right, so...
Spoilers. Should we start
spoiler
with...
alert.
Asylum. Asylum? Yeah. Asylum? Asylum.
Asylum.
Okay, so... Man, in this game, there are so many kind of cool red herrings and stuff. Yeah. So many laughable moments. One of my favorite that happened to us is when you're going in and you meet the guy who wants you to bring the special item.
The artifact.
The artifact. You must bring me the artifact. And you go and you don't know what that item is at the time, likely. Maybe you will. But you go and you find the item. Oh, yeah, you wanted this item, and it's a plunger. And he's like, yeah, I can get you out of here, but I need the artifact, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking, well, what could this... How could he use a plunger to get us out? So I was thinking, like, maybe it's like something about the sewers, and you need the suction to lift something up.
Yeah, because you see all the city workers out there with plungers lifting up those manhole covers. Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. You go in, and then... If you don't think about it as though it's real life, and that's something about these games, you got to approach it as, if this was really happening,
right? How
should I react?
Right.
If some guy in an insane asylum comes up and tells me he needs a plunger, I should probably just go the other way. But sometimes, you get into games and you don't think about things as logically as you should. So you're like, all right, we got the item that he wants. He says he's going to help us, so he has to be telling the truth.
Sure.
So you give him the plunger, and he's like, oh, we need to spend 5 time. And then all you end up doing is dancing around the plunger, and your calves hurt.
And when that happened, it was just, oh man, it's so funny. It's so funny when these little red herrings catch you off guard.
Yeah.
And the other thing with these stories, there's so many like story arc, well, maybe not arcs, but there's like paths that you can take. There's always multiple paths to one ending condition. So you're like, well, maybe there is something down this road. We haven't tried this route yet. So let's go for it and let's see what happens. And then sure enough, it was just a complete dead end. And everyone's just like, why did you do that, Jacob? Or whatever. Yeah. Yeah,
it's so great. There really is so many different ways you can go. Like you can try and get the key and go at the main gate. You can either attack the doctor or go with the doctor and go through the labyrinth. Yeah. And then I even believe there's if you talk to one nurse, she tells you where the catacombs are. Yeah. And you can go down that way. I mean, there's so many different ways to go, but you always end up at around the same part.
Yeah, there's always like an end section, and like there's multiple paths to that end section, but then once you get there, now it's a fairly linear path. Yeah. With a few choices here and there.
Yeah, and I remember one of my favorite moments in the game was, so I was kind of thinking about it, okay, this is like a real life scenario. I wasn't really thinking there's a whole lot of actual magic going on.
Right, sure.
Like I thought it was really based in reality, and then we go into the greenhouse and you see like these paw prints and you're like, okay, whatever, maybe some cat or something, like. Yeah. And then like you flip it, like I went to the card and I flipped it over and here's this giant manticore.
Yeah,
like I'm like,
huge wing, scorpion tail, and you're just like, whoa, what's happening?
And I mean, it really adds that's like a little bit of scariness factor to it, because until that point it's just a lot of social interactions, not a whole lot of fighting. But then you get out there and you go into this greenhouse and all of a sudden like, oh, there's this big animal attacking me. I'm going to need help, guys. Come help me.
Yeah, and the cool thing that I liked about this one is you're taking on the persona of these people who are effectively crazy. And so all these monsters that you're fighting, all these crazy beasts and things, you don't know exactly what those are. Maybe that was just like the house cat. Yeah. That's like someone's pet at the asylum. Or, maybe it's a nurse that you're fighting, or an orderly or something like that. And so that whole kind of twist, what is actually happening here in this theme, is really interesting to me. I really enjoy it.
I will disagree with you here.
Okay.
I think that those things that you're seeing are the actual things.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think it's the house cat or the nurse or things like that. Unless that's like really far out of left field, because like there's just things that happen that, I mean, if you go up against a house cat, your character isn't going to die, but your character could die here. There's like
it could be a mental instability where they just think, oh, this thing's hit me, so my brain is triggering that I'm going to die from this, and so they have like some sort of seizure or something like that.
Well, maybe, but for us all to see the exact same thing, I think this is really kind of a fantastical alternate history setting where these things are actually going on.
Let us know in the comments down below what you think.
Yeah, if you think that if it's just because you're crazy you're seeing this. Yeah. Like I think not, because why would they send you back to prevent this temporal fault if it's really just the nurse trying to give you an injection of your medication?
Yeah, could be.
I think there's really some shady stuff that's happening.
Yeah. Here. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have an interview with a designer, and he'll tell us.
So yeah, I think it is a fantastical setting, whether or not you agree.
So what do you think of the first puzzle, or the big puzzle in that one, which was the key?
Oh man, that was so hard.
Yeah, that took us a long time, I think, to figure that one out.
Because it really challenged what I expected in a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you kind of feel like you're handheld with all these rules always. Oh, if you go here, you get to do this. If you go here, you get to do this. Even at the beginning of this game, a lot of the cards would tell you, take this item, do this, or something like that. Very specifically. You're used to always being specifically told.
Right.
But then it was like these 5 pictures of these keys, and this, I'm like, I don't even know what to do. Like,
yeah, a couple letters going around in a circle, and you're like, I can't read this. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. And then you're like, oh, it just tells you need to solve the puzzle of the pentacles, and you're just like,
and you see that picture which has the icon, so you put them in order, but that doesn't mean, that doesn't just like spell it out for you.
Yeah.
You then need to. You need to start in a specific spot and then read around in a circle.
Yeah. But yeah, it was so tough. We eventually got it where
and we weren't 100% sure either.
No.
We were just like, read item 19 or take item 19 or whatever it said, and we were just like, so do we just grab that item?
Yeah. Is that what
and we're like all looking around the table. Is that what we actually do?
Yeah.
And so finally we're just like, I guess take a quick look. And you're just like, yeah, we did it. And you're like all super pumped.
Yeah, it was so cool. The final decision whether or not to stand on the pentacles. Again, you're like, oh yeah, we'll just stand on the pentacles.
Well, yeah, my wife, she's just like, oh yeah, I totally think we should do it.
I trust her.
And she gave a couple reasons why. I don't remember what they were, but we were all just kind of like sitting there, we're looking around, and we're just like, okay, if you think so, I guess.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we didn't argue against it. You know, if we really thought about it, our better judgment would have told us, you know, hey, why are we here? We're here to stop a cult from, like, using some temporal rift or something like that. So maybe we shouldn't be standing on a pentacle. But we went ahead and did it anyways.
And then you read the mission failed card, and it's like...
Bob was having none of it.
Yeah, Bob is like your guide, and he just like, man, he gets so mad.
Yeah. Man.
And then I wanted to touch based on the last thing for Asylum that I wanted to touch on was my mind was literally blown.
Okay.
When we were reading those end of mission cards, and it said underneath the insert in the game box you'll find these tokens. I was like, what?
Yeah, you were like mind blown.
I was like, oh my, like what?
I couldn't believe how surprised you were.
Like, what an amazing idea. Like, I'm so happy I didn't take the insert out and look under. I had no idea there was anything underneath. But to hide a game component underneath an insert for at the end of the game, it tells you to go look under it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah.
It didn't surprise me as much. It was a cool thing, but Jeffrey was just like, this was the greatest thing in the universe.
Yeah, it just you think you know everything that came with the game.
Sure.
You're like, oh, here's all the components and stuff, and then they just gave you this extra little thing at the end that kind of like surprised. I was like, wow, this is so cool that they did this. Like they could have easily put the tokens on the top of the insert, right? But they put them underneath.
Yeah.
As just an added surprise.
Yeah. So you didn't know what was coming. And it wasn't mentioned in the rule books?
No.
That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, Asylum was awesome. It was at the end of those games, I was just like, wow, Time Stories, this is a game.
Yeah, the first core box blew my mind. I loved it.
So moving on to the Marcy case.
Yeah. Because
we did play these in order.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is an actual overarching story going on. And we played them in the order that they were released that follows that story.
Yeah, I never really even thought about that. About if you bought the game as it is now, just released, and you got everything, and to play it out of order, if that would have... It would have an effect, I guess, to a degree, because Bob, the guy who's taking you on these missions... He's like talking about how you're getting better at what you're doing. So there would be a degree of that.
And also just going back quickly to the Asylum, the base one, we put the 2 jewels in that statue's eye.
Right, yeah.
And we got that item that says, oh, keep this for a future scenario. Again, that blew my mind.
Yeah, that was crazy. We were like, what?
Yeah, like, oh man, can't wait to see what this item is going to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely I think playing them in order is how it should be done, because there's even like little snippets like in the Prophecy of Dragons when you're going through like one of the temporal rifts or something. There's this guy wandering. He's like, oh, Dr. Hyacinth, who's the doctor from Asylum, sent me down here. So there's little tidbits here and there.
Yeah.
Through the later ones.
Yeah, tying it all together a little bit.
So the Marcy Case, zombie theme.
Mm-hmm.
Not a very underused theme in games.
No, but it didn't feel like a zombie theme to me. Like, it was there, but I wasn't like, oh man, now we're playing a zombie game. It was just like, hey, we're in this scenario and there's zombies here. We're doing other things, but there's zombies.
Yeah. And I feel like, and I think you pointed this out when we were playing, that it probably drew a lot from the Resident Evil series.
Yeah.
Because it had like umbrellas everywhere.
Yeah.
It was like the Umbrella Corporation and stuff like that. So there was kind of like a little bit of a play there on the...
Yeah, like a tying of all these different universes together. Like, okay, now we're in the Resident Evil universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or now we're over here in this other world. I didn't see any ties in Prophecy of Dragon.
No.
But I wasn't looking for them.
No. But I think Marcy Case is my favorite scenario of the three. The whole noise mechanic.
Mm-hmm. That was interesting, yeah.
It takes like you think, okay, this is the system, this is kind of what it's going to be all the time after you played Asylum. But they use the game pieces in very new and interesting ways.
Yeah.
Like, as you shoot your gun or make more noise in the combat, you put these tokens on a card, and when they build up to a certain number, when you change locations, the zombies, they hurt you. They're coming to get you, and then you have to fight them off again. Yeah. So it made that interesting decision. Oh, should I use the gun? Should I use the minigun?
Yeah, because the minigun makes a lot of noise, but you really power down a whole bunch of zombies when you use it. So.
Yeah, so I really liked that part of the Marcy Case.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool aspect. Something new, something different that, like you said, when you're in Asylum, you're like, okay, yeah, it's going to be the same in this new Marcy Case. But it's not. No, here's a new layer that you're unfolding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like that as well. I don't think Marcy Case is my favorite, though.
No?
No. I'm not sure yet.
I
have to think about it.
I also liked the infection. You get those girls. You're rescuing the girls, and then you putting these affection markers on them, and then they die, and you're just hoping that. I hope that this one isn't Marcy that I needed to save.
Yeah, the whole infection thing was really crazy. Because they were dying like flies.
Yeah.
Like, it was just left, right, and center, people dying off. And I was like, man, how is this even possible? How are you supposed to do this?
Well, it adds extra tension on top of you spending your time.
Yep.
Because you're spending, like, you see the time going down, and then you're like, okay, well, we still have like 30 time or 20 time or something like that. But then it added this, but
this person isn't going to make it that far.
So in 5 times, this person is dead. So we need to pick up another infected person so that we can put all the infection on them and they die.
Yeah, it was always just, we need to grab someone new so they'll die. Like, we need to get someone to join our party just so we don't have to.
Yeah, it was also more combat heavy, this one. Yeah. But your characters didn't have those quirks and drawbacks that Asylum did. So you could really, you had the pistol and stuff like that. You could really do a lot more damage.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was a lot of variety in weapons, though.
No.
It was just, very straightforward. Here's what you get. You're expending,
But it's just more combat.
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah.
Not different kinds of combat, just more
of it, yeah. And one of the other cool things was with how you figure out who Marcy is. Yeah. I think that kind of blew our mind in the end, where you take this one card and you match up this row of icons similar to like a code for
it's like a DNA gel, like you see all these different lines.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the codes on merchandise at a grocery store. Barcode, thank you. So you have barcode on each of the Marcy ones, and then also on this other card, and you have to match them up, and if they line up, you have the right person. And luckily, for us, it was a 50-50. We had 2 of them with us. We didn't know exactly which one was which, and we like kind of hedged our bets. We think it's this one because of a couple reasons, and sure enough, we got it and we ended up winning. But that was a really cool thing that I didn't notice when we first looked at the cards.
Yeah,
like you grabbed the Marcy cards and we were like reading. We didn't look down at the bottom and see, oh, what's this barcode? Yeah. It was just like all of a sudden when we got there, flip the card over and lined it up, and we're like, what?
Yeah. It was so cool because we're like, how are we gonna know which one's Marcy or not? Yeah. It was really neat. I will say also another thing that I liked in this one is I felt there were a lot more time sinks in this scenario.
Yeah, there were.
Like you could, if you rescued that guy in the first part of the city, and then when you go to the woods, he tries to like attack you and take off the convict.
Yeah.
There's if you don't have the code for the radio, and you go to that location and you can just like try all the different stations and then waste time. Yeah. And then when you get the radio going, so you can call in the helicopter, if you go back to the police station, there's like a button.
An abort button.
And you're just like, oh, maybe should I press it? And then if you press it, thankfully we didn't, but if you press it, it just shuts off the radio and the helicopter is no longer coming. And you're like, I can imagine being, oh my god.
Yeah, it doesn't say abort, but it gives you some sort of hint. It's like, hey, there's this big red button here. You can press it if you want. And I was just like, I don't think we should do that, guys. That sounds like something that could be bad.
Yeah. And then there's at the church, you go to talk to the priest. He like tries to attack you in the back room.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that just suck your time. And same thing when you're trying
that
to actually,
whole riverboat going down as well. And that was a big time eater.
Trying to get into the bunker, if you didn't have the passcode to get in there, you'd have to like go through try multiple cards. So yeah, it was really interesting. I felt like there was so much going on. Like it's like, oh, I want to go here first, but before I go there, I want to get this item. But then before I go there, I want to get this. And you're just like, oh, where do we actually start? I felt like there was a lot of intercrossed story things going on amongst all the locations.
Right.
So then on to the Prophecy of Dragons, and I'll start off with, like I said, the first time we played, we got really lucky. The second run, we beat it. And because we played it again, if you watch our replayable video, we talked that we replayed it again because we didn't feel like we explored it fully.
Right.
And we played it 3 more runs, and we couldn't even get to the second part where you go and get into the castle. You get into the castle, and we're like, man, how did we do this on the second run? And it came down to when you're in that like tunnel area and you can pick one of 3 cards. We had 1 glyph, and we actually 33% chance we picked the right card.
Yeah.
And that's why
we were just like, oh, we made it to the end and we win.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that was a really easy one.
Yeah. So, and because we did a before and after for Prophecy of Dragons, and I said in that I felt more like, instead of exploring, I felt more like there was a tide and you were just being carried by the story rather than making the decisions. But I think that was just because we had such an easy go of it. We got lucky.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was 100% that, because we didn't explore much of anything at all. We just kind of went to, I think, 3 locations, and then boom, we were at the end. It was just like, oh, get rid of that whole deck of cards now, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
New deck of cards, and you're in the end phase.
Yeah. Well, and that was really cool with the Prophecy of Dragons, because you open up your deck of cards, and then there's like another sealed deck. It's like, oh, don't open this deck of cards. And you're like, oh, what are all these cards for?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And like the stack of cards, it was just so thick. You're like, oh man, there's so much here.
Like the stack, the entire stack in Prophecy of Dragon is probably like at least that big. Yeah. If not bigger. Like it was a huge stack of cards that you're going through.
Yeah.
So and a lot of content.
Is the fantasy theme, I think this one had the most variety in the combat.
Yeah, everyone had like unique abilities, and I felt like in Asylum and Marcy case, your characters didn't really matter who you picked as much.
I would say in Marcy case that is more true, because there's like 3 damage classes, and then there was the one reporter who was like searching for stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a little different, but
Asylum was a little more versatile, where you had like the cocaine addict.
Yeah.
And he had some options, but even the other ones,
you just said you had to play around their peculiarities.
Yeah.
Right. Like one guy, he got stressed and he would attack other people. One girl didn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
One person ate other people that you defeated and stuff like that,
and regain hit points.
But yeah, definitely the combat in Prophecy of Dragons was the most varied.
Yeah,
for sure.
And our very first run, I chose the thief as my starting character. Before the game even starts, it's like, pick up this item, and it's just boom, the town guards are attacking you. Yeah. I was like, what? We haven't even started the game yet. Sorry guys, we're under attack. Yeah, that blew my mind. I was laughing so hard at that.
Yeah, and that kind of the decision making, the meaningful decision making starts right from when you choose your characters.
Yeah,
like immediately out of the gate, it matters what you do.
Exactly.
You choose that thief, and then you're being hounded every time you change locations.
Yeah, but he gives you some awesome abilities where you can steal items later on in the game, and you don't have to pay money. You just get to,
try and steal stuff.
Pickpocket a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool. Also the kind of meta story, I think you started getting a little bit more glimpses. Are we actually on the right side?
Yeah.
Like, because there's like a rival faction, and then at the end when you kill the guy, he's like says something, and you're like, oh, are we actually doing the right thing here?
I kind of got that feeling right when we started Prophecy of Dragons. Even when Bob was talking to us and explaining kind of what was happening, I was like, I think we're on the wrong side. Yeah. I feel like we're playing the part of the bad guys, but we don't know it yet.
Yeah. So I think I'm very interested for the next ones to come out to kind of see where that overarching story goes.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to try and be like rogue agents and like break off from the T.I.M.E agency and go over to the other side? Like, what's going on? And we still haven't figured out what to use that item for that we picked up in Asylum.
Exactly. Yeah. So there hasn't been a use for that.
So it just keeps giving you a little taste now and again, and just what you want more and more and more.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, one of my other favorite things in this one, in Prophecy of Dragon, was how many items there were in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's
60 item cards in the deck.
Yeah, but, like, you have equipment, so you have, like, 5 different weapons. You have, like, 4 different armor.
You've bunch of potions.
10 potions or something like that. And you don't know what all of them are going to be used for or if they're going to be useful, but you're just like, that's like one of the first areas you go to, so you have to be like, I don't know what we're going to need all this stuff for.
You don't have enough money.
You have like half as much money as you need to buy everything, if not less than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like you have all these options of how to equip your characters before you go on your adventure, and I think that was probably my favorite thing in that scenario.
Yeah, it really felt like a fantasy RPG. Equip out your guy, go out to the different guilds, because you pick how you want to try and get to the castle based on...
3 different ways to get there.
Yeah, 4. Because you can catch the fairies, you can go with the Thieves Guild, you can go the Warriors Guild, or you can go the Mage Guild.
Right, the Mage Guild, yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of different ways you can try and accomplish your goal.
Yeah, and there's some that are quicker than others.
Yeah.
But the first route when we got lucky, we went Mage. And that was a trip.
And then we tried each of the other 3 in our 3 reruns,
right?
And we
couldn't do any of them.
Yeah.
Well, the fairy one was definitely the easiest.
But you got to try and get through that.
But you need to be prepared. See, if we were prepared for that, we would have won that game in a breeze. I think the fairy route is the way to go if you're trying to optimize. You just need to be prepared for swimming through that tunnel.
Yeah, dwarves can't swim. It's a well-known
fact. Swimming through that well lost us 20 times and lost us the game. Like, we made it to the well spending 5 times.
Yeah.
And then just game over from that point because
game over, man.
Because I had to roll like 15 times to get through the freaking well.
Yeah. So, I think that's all I want to say. Like I said, Marcy Case is my favorite of the bunch so far. I'm really excited for Under the Mask, though, the Egyptian one.
That's the one that's exciting me the most because I love Egyptian theme.
Yeah.
So I'm hyped about that one. But of these three, I think my favorite is still Asylum.
Yeah.
I think it was just the first initial experience and not knowing what to expect. That huge, crazy key puzzle, which like I couldn't wrap my head around. Like all of a sudden, it was just like, do we take item 19?
Yeah.
Like, do we do that? What? The game's not telling us like exactly like you have to do this, right? And that kind of stretched where board games are.
Yeah.
It's like this is a new era of board game.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome.
All right, that's Time Stories.
Time Stories, spoiler edition.
Spoiler edition. I mean, for me, it's a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Game. Like it's that good.
Yeah. For me, I would say it's a 9.
Like I've never gotten this excited before playing a game. Like I'm just like, when the expansion comes out, like
we need it right now.
Yeah, we're playing it right now. It just came in the mail. Come over, we're playing it right now. Like what other expansion or game are you like, oh, I just got this game in the mail. Get in the car. Just don't even bother. I don't care if you're fully dressed. Just get in the car and race over here immediately.
Because we need to play. Yeah. I think the only thing drawing me away from this is the fact that it's only, once and done.
Yeah.
And that's the only drawback. That's it. Other than that, I think the only thing other people might have is that it's an experience. It's not a look at all these awesome mechanics and gameplay value. It's you need to immerse yourself in this experience and enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Time Stories.
Yeah.
If you liked all the spoilers, hopefully you had already played through the game before you watched this.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us out for sure.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter at MeepleLeaf and go to the comment section down below, or the description, I should say. Go to BoardGameLinks.com. Give us some hearts. Help us rise the ranks. And for any other Time Stories content, because we have a lot of it, check our podcast and check our YouTube feed, and you'll see it in there.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.